All right, you're first, Jill.
Okay. Ron and I met with a couple of the other Gualala River folks Tuesday night. Let's see, Shone and Emma, who are two staff people, have started monitoring work on the North Fork and are seeing a few young of the year steelheads. And they'll be setting out the hobo temps gauges starting next week. And I think that's about it. We didn't have any update from Jason on the what's going on with the collaborative, but I see he's with us this morning, so maybe he'll be able to share something. That's it for me.
Yeah, thanks, Jill. Jason, do you want to jump in?
Sure. I don't have any updates on the Walla watershed plan. I need to put together an agenda here and try to do another community meeting and keep that process moving forward. But I don't really have much momentum yet, other than just reading a lot of what has already been done in the watershed, trying to catch up. So yeah, other than working on the Walla plan, working out on a planning effort in the Upper Mark West area right now. That's a challenge. And then I've got a fuel break project that we're trying to get started in the Geyserville area. And there's supposed to be a planning phase with that as well. And trying to get on top of that stuff. And then North Bay Forest Improvement Program and other kinds of stuff. But thankfully I've got Genevieve, our forestry technician, is really taking on a lot of that. So just trying to support her. That's kind of what I've got going on.
Yeah, thanks for the update. Sounds like a lot. I'm glad you have help. All right, Tess, you're next.
Hi, I'm Tess. I'm with the Gold Ridge RCD. I don't really have much of an update. We have a steering committee meeting next week for the RCPP Forestry and Grasslands grant with NRCS. And yeah, and then we're just working on some kind of internal forestry outreach work at the RCD. And yeah, also not really doing any special technology right now. So yeah.
Thanks for adding that. Yeah, I kind of an extra question for our check-in today is if you use any technology that makes your job easier or more visible to the public or anything like that. So always curious to learn more about that. And I thought I just make it a question in our check-ins today. Tess, for RCPP, do you know if people apply for EQIP, are they basically folded into RC? Are they basically like being evaluated for RCPP? Oh, Joe Teal is here.
Yeah,
so maybe he can
Joe
help
can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure from talking to Chase, what they're doing is reviewing the EQIP and then kind of funneling in those application to RCPP, the ones that fit. Yeah, pretty sure that's what they're doing.
Okay, that was my impression too. So I guess from the outside point of view, it looks just like you're applying for EQIP, more or less. I think that's how it is right now, at least.
Yeah.
Is that, Joe, do you want to take that question and also give us an update on how you're doing?
Yeah, no, that's right. For the RCPP folks that qualify for it, that have some sort of interaction with one of the RCDs, what I've been doing, what most of us have been doing, is ranking them in both fund pools for RCPP and EQIP, and the EQIP Inflation Reduction Act. So 3 different fund pools, and then whichever one they get selected in is the one that we'll push them through with, and then just cancel the rest. And the way it's worked so far is it's actually worked out quite well so far, is that nobody's really had any overlap really being selected in both pools. I think the questions were set up pretty well to kind of try to avoid that different concentrations. But yeah, no, it's worked well. There's announcements yesterday for the second batch of RCPP. 2 more from Sonoma, and I think 9 from Napa were selected. One of the so yeah, 2 of them. I don't know if I can say that here or not, who was selected or not, but yeah, and then we had another 11 selected in the EQIP Inflation Reduction Act as well. Some of those could have been in RCPP, but Napa would have knocked them out anyways, so wouldn't have mattered.
Could you explain what the EQIP Inflation Reduction Act program is?
Yeah, so the extra money that came from the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed several months ago from the Biden administration added several $1 million, quite a few millions of dollars to the environmental quality incentives program. I mean, it spreads much farther than that, but the biggest focus is climate smart agricultural activities. And primarily what that is for forestry, what that means for forestry is emissions reductions in the case of catastrophic wildfire. Even prescribed burning can be categorized in there. So most anything that we can swing in forestry can be put in there and tied to some sort of climate smart activity, which would be thinning and woody residue treatment. There's also planting is another big one that they are really focused on. And there's some wildlife practices in there for monitoring and enhancement of upland wildlife habitat. So with that funds, it was a pretty big pot. I think it was like 1.3 million this round. And then that money is going to almost triple next year. And then even more the 3rd year, and then it'll start to taper off again. So we're going to see a huge influx of funds starting 2024 for that program, specifically for anybody that's in EQIP would qualify as long as they're doing one of those climate smart activities. But yeah, again, with forestry, they're almost always doing some sort of thinning, so they're going to qualify there. And then, yeah, so we got 11 of those. I'm sorry, I didn't prepare well enough. I don't have a full dollar amount or anything of what was selected.
That's okay.
But yeah, kind of focusing on planting, brush management, thinning. Those were the ones that kind of got pushed through. And then even adding on some sort of wildlife element was a big factor there to get folks pushed through.
I have a question, Joseph.
Yeah.
Does the EQIP include like adding carbon to like compost, adding carbon to the soil, and maybe biochar projects? Or is that eligible for EQIP?
I don't have that answer off the top of my head, but maybe I can drop in a list of the climate smart activities in the chat throughout the meeting, and that might help a little bit. A lot of the practices, the way that work, as long as they're supporting another climate smart activity, then we can do it. So stuff like biochar, I'm not sure if it was included in this round or not, but I would imagine as some sort of woody residue treatment / treatment, creating biochar from the thinning material. I'd imagine that probably would have been included in there as a supporting practice for forest thinning. But I'll get you an answer on that and throughout the meeting, and I'll look through the specs. As far as composting,
What is it? It's the
Probably does.
Swedish
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll take a look through that and I'll send you a list in the chat here. Yeah, other updates. I am kind of curious if any of you guys have ever used the model builder on ArcGIS Pro. We haven't really used it much here, but I've been trying to build kind of a automation task system for like creating maps that are pretty general. Things like just linking different geoprocessing tools together in ArcGIS Pro to help simplify stuff like CNDDB maps, where you can connect, create the buffer and then clip it for the multiple layers that we have to in one tool, that's pretty straightforward. But building that tool into an automated task is where I'm trying to take it a little bit further, so that it's like click one button and it just does it for you. Pretty much just you tell it the input and then it goes.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of a project that I've been working on with the state GIS specialist here, trying to create like standardized templates for the whole state for not just equip and general NRCS stuff. But yeah, if you guys hear of anybody that kind of works with the tasks and model builder tool set in ArcGIS Pro, send them my way. I've probably got some questions for them.
Can you tell us again, or kind of give an example of what workflow or what sort of analysis you'd use that for?
Yeah. So like when we create a new contract, we need to create their farm and tract number to get them attached and create the planning land unit that we use to plan everything in our system. And usually that's just appended from the parcel boundary. And it's a lot of clicks to just kind of create a parcel boundary and then add all the attributes and everything to it that we need. And then further down the line, doing the culture resources and the CNDDB maps. I mean, it's a lot of the same thing over and over. So connecting all of those geoprocessing tools separately, so connecting them into one tool that you can use, you just put the input in, and then it pretty much knows where to go from there. And then separately taking that new tool that you created and putting it into an automation process that GIS Pro has, which is like they call it tasks. And you can, in the back end, that you can either write the Python for it or you can have it write it for you. And basically it'll run the tools that you have as long as you have like the correct layers selected, which it can actually do for you too. So, I mean, in my dream, I would be able to collect the parcel and then start the task, and it pretty much runs through all of that and then opens up the map for you and like double check your information and type in the landowner name and the farm and tract number if it's not already appended in, and that kind of stuff. So
That was really neat.
so,
I can see that
yeah,
saving a lot of time.
it would. It also takes a lot of time. So sometimes it's like, just do it and then it'll be fine. But so I don't know if if you guys hear much about the tax system, there's some weird kinks that it has.
I'll keep my ear out for anyone who knows how to use Model Builder in ArcGIS. Another thing I think it could be useful for, just thinking about it, is like and maybe this is not like an immediate need, but I was thinking about some of the project evaluation, like RCPP. We were talking about counting how many structures are within the like project influence zone. So like when you do a project like a thinning project, say it's only like 10 acres of thinning, but you have sort of like the influence of that 10 acres of thinning is bigger than just that. So you put a buffer around it and say, well, it's sort of creating a safer zone for, whatever the buffer zone is that you want to give it. I don't know, 1/10 of a mile or something really small, but something like that. So you'd say, well, we want to have a buffer on the on the treatment itself, and then any structures that are near the treatment, we sort of want to know how many there are, and we know that structures are very flammable, and so you want to sort of like think about their own influence zone. Anyway, I haven't really thought about it much, but like putting buffers on things is something that maybe you could automate, and you could also get some statistics about those things more quickly if you could just be like, okay, and now analyze this structure footprint layer that's in GIS. Tell me how many there are, and what, how much, sort of like what's the area of their influence zone. And I don't know, it's something that takes a little time, but it would be kind of interesting to think about how we could start to get that information more automatically instead of having to run it by hand. I don't know.
I'd be interested to, I mean, that's kind of what the wildland fuel mapper does a little bit. You just need to pull the attributes from pretty much what they do, or have that.
Oh, yeah.
In. So maybe getting an idea from how that works would be helpful too.
Yeah. Okay, that was cool. Thanks for sharing. And Ron, you're next.
There we go. Yeah, I don't have much to add. Like at the Gualala River Watershed Council meeting, we're waiting for Jason to give us a few answers, but it sounds like the people up there, Gualala, the core people, are into getting there, like Jill said, working on that and gathering information. And I was checking my old notes. I think I gave Jason some of my old notes, but otherwise I haven't. Well, we're waiting for our new executive director to have a meeting so we can find out. I don't know, I haven't been in the office, but I'm glad Jason has help there. And other than that, I've been checking up in other counties, Trinity and Siskiyou, about what they're doing in the forests, and they sound similar to us. They've got programs with chippers and all that, and your domestic cleanup of your yard and your defensible space. And I've spent some of my time with that because I have a house up there. And again, the RCD up there is working with the Forest Service and Caltrans, and the power companies, filling up the dam, diverting water, and allocating water. And that's about it. I'm waiting for things to move a little bit.
Yeah, it takes some time.
Yeah, I've told friends of mine about the our event in June, and hopefully we'll get a lot of people curious to find out what to do.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So, you ask people to go and they'll go, oh yeah, I'll show up, but you don't know what they're doing personally. So hope they can
get them in registration.
Yeah, I think a good maps to Shone Farm is helpful.
Oh,
If
that's
you've been
amazing.
Yeah, if you've been there before, it's easy. I could do it in my sleep almost. But lots of room there to park and everything. I like the way it's set up.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I hope we'll provide all the information that people need to get there. And yeah, hopefully people are just free that weekend and can come.
Yeah.
I wanted to comment on this, Ron. I love that you're engaged up there and intimately with your own land, but I'm thinking it would be great to have them come to one of our meetings and be presenters, and share what they're doing, and a little bit vice versa. And certainly we would be able to do that more effectively if we can get some of them to the conference. So I'm really hoping you can reach out to a lot of the landowners up there and get them down here, because there's so much the same need of information, that like you're suggesting. So anyway, I just am thrilled that you have that relationship. So I'm just supporting it.
Yeah, my closest relationship is the RCD. They used to come down in the NRCS car, and a group of them for this group meetings, because they're part of the North Coast area. And I'll just pass the word around and see if they want to come down.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
And,
Okay.
Alternatively, we could also just invite them to attend one of our Zoom meetings if that's easier, and we could make some space in the agenda for them to talk about what they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so, let them know both is possible, whatever's easiest for them if they want to do it. Thanks, Ron. All right, Judy, you're next. And you are on mute.
Okay. I think we're good. We have a lot going on right now, and I'm going to keep this short. We're getting started on our CAL FIRE wildfire prevention grant. We're working on the forest fire prevention exemptions. And we have some areas in treatable landscape for the CAL VTP. The county declined our request to be the lead. So I know Jason, Matt reached out to you. We're reaching out to a couple of other agencies, public agencies, special districts for the CAL VTP. The forest fire exemptions is another issue, very different than what we did on Fort Ross Road, where the Forest Council was the permit holder. With the forest fire exemptions, each landowner is the permit holder. And so our outreach worker is doing a lot of work with Matt Green right now to meet with all the individual landowners. We have like 177 acres we're going to be working on, and explaining to them what they're signing on to and what that means. And so that's pretty big right now. The other thing we're doing is we're working on a lot of planning for the upcoming grants. We have the CAL FIRE, Forest Health, Wildfire Prevention, NCRP contacted me and said they have a regional forest health grant that'll be coming out soon that we might be a good fit. And I know there's the other one that was just sent, the regional resilience planning grant that we're looking at. Thankfully, we have an NCRP grant that's paying us for paying technical support for us to work with Matt Green. We're also working with Mark Andre in Arcata and the company BBW. And so they're helping us with this planning, with the grant writing. Matt Green is our forest lead, and Mark Andre is our CEQA lead. So together, we feel that we really have some good support there in this planning that we're doing. And what we've done is we've divided this part of the North Coast region into two planning units. We have the southern unit, which includes the Muniz ranches and the 4 ranches along Fort Ross Road. And those are all the areas that are included in this wildfire prevention grant. The northern unit, we're working with Odeon. We're doing a 10-acre fire on their property. We're working with Kashaya, Save the Redwoods League, and their Harold Richardson Redwood Forest Preserves, and the Richardson Ranch itself. We're also working with the North Sonoma Coast Fire Chief on doing outreach in Annapolis for, to just really start talking to them about, working together and doing some of this work Marshall suggested that we talk to them about the project we did on Fort Ross Road. So we're working on that right now. And I think really that's about it. We're getting ready for the Forest Conference. And we have a tour. We'll be co-hosting a tour on the Muniz ranches, on the land, the Moala Ranch. And so we're working on putting that together. Our outreach worker, Melissa, is working on all of that. And then we'll be presenting at the conference on collaboration. And so we're working on that as well. And we have a new communications director, a woman on the Muniz ranches who's kind of helping put all of this stuff together and designing stuff for the table and all of the other stuff. We will get our maps over to you, Adriana. I'm trying to get an updated one from Marshall. We do have a planning meeting the week before with all of our collaborative partners here on the coast. Tentatively, it's scheduled for June 19th. And that's to bring everyone together in this planning area that we have, so we can look at their projects, our projects, where are the gaps, what are the priorities, and look at the connectivity between the work that we're all doing, so that when we apply for these grants, we're not duplicating our efforts, we're working together collaboratively. And so we're looking forward to that. I was hoping that we could do that not so soon to the Forest Conference, but it seems to be one of the dates that people have available. And if not, then we'll do it after. We'll do it later on in June. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's
Hey, I do have a
amazing.
question. I do have a question, Jill. Did the or Ron, do you have an executive director, a new executive director for the Watershed Council? You're both muted.
We
Yeah.
do not. We have our board running, and we have Shone and Emma on as field staff. We got kicked out of our office when the Mill Bend property got sold to Redwood Coast Land Conservancy. So we're operating out of a storage unit, and those I would say our goals to
Oh, okay. I was just
establish an office and get funding up to a point where we can hire an executive director.
got it.
Thank you, Judy, so much. I'm really excited for your tour on the conference. And I feel like we hear about your work every weekend, every month that we have this meeting. And I'm just excited to see it in person and like get a deeper dive on all of it, because there's so much you guys are doing.
Yeah, and I think we will get the goats out there for the tour. We'll have something out there.
That's great. Yeah, I know that's gonna be a little extra trouble. So tell Melissa if it works, great. If not, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Caroline, you're next.
Can you guys hear me? Our big news is that we got the CWPP final signature. It is done. It is in. So now we're hoping that folks will start entering projects into the project planning tool. I've been out for a week since then, so haven't really started pushing out the messaging about getting people to do that. So that's upcoming. We'll be doing a lot of outreach to try to get people to enter their projects. We're kind of excited about where that's going to go and the database that will provide us, which will help to make sure that exactly what Judy was talking about, that everybody's not duplicating efforts and is hanging in there. So that's a good thing. Also, tools, structures and stuff, that's all in the project planning tool, Adriana. So if you wanted to figure out how many structures, what the population is in a given project area, you can actually make your project area. There's a little cloud on the very left of the screen. You hit that cloud and it's going to pop out a spreadsheet that has all of the parcel data, including how it's zoned, how many structures, ownership, everything but the name of the parcel owner. Those are redacted for public information, but the mailing address, situs address, that's all in there. So that's an existing really handy tool that anybody can use. So that's there. The rest of it were permits. Sonoma's moving forward on its hazardous vegetation projects, and we're making a lot of progress forward on the structure hardening defensible space projects that we have underway. And hopefully, now that I don't have the distraction of the CWPP, we'll be making even better progress. So that's it from me.
That's great. Congratulations. That must feel like such a big hurdle to have passed. And now more free time. Wonderful. Thanks, Caroline. All right, and Dee, you're next.
Well, good morning. And I have a couple of things about the Taking Action for Living Systems group. We are working with CLE, the Center for Law, Environment and Energy at UC Berkeley's Law School. Planning a convening. We've been doing this planning for 2 or 3 years, and we just are continuing to refine what it is we want to bring people together to accomplish. And CLE has also been working. They're one of their main focuses is getting people to convene on various topics. And certainly the forest is one of the main ones. And they have become a collaborator with us rather than just the convener on the next steps to get a regional governance structure formed and and get private investing involved with the public funding so that we all can move faster and have the projects be supported longer into the future. Because of course, most of our grants that we talk about are one, short term, and we want to have it be so that things are managed, in perpetuity eventually. So they're very involved with us in moving that convening. It's going to go slower because we want to be more careful at, getting people together with something that they can actually do after we convene them. We are also involved in the Swedish Chamber of Commerce for San Francisco and Silicon Valley. We went to their conference last September, and along with Tamra and Ivan, they also went. And the conference was focused on Sweden and California, but mostly Northern California. And this year they've invited France to be engaged. So we're going to stick with the Northern California, but add another country. And it's called, they're doing another conference in November of this year. And it's a Forest Innovation Summit. So what's the things that are, the most advanced and new? So I'm hoping that we'll get some more members from our group to attend this year. I think it would be worth our while, and I'll talk more about it as we go. And tech-wise, well, I'm working with all the new IA tools. I'm just going for the artificial intelligence. In fact, that's what you're seeing now. I'm just artificially engaged. No, I'm just kidding. But that's we aren't techie right now. I'll put it that way. Then to remind you that the North Coast Regional Partnership has got their North Coast Forest Biomass Strategy webinar on June 7th. And I don't have a link to that information. Adriana, do you have something you can put in the chat or something you can send to our members? Or maybe everybody's already got notice of what's happening there, but biomass is so it's growing, and we aren't sure, if it's good or not. As most of you know, the current technology doesn't seem to really be something that is even carbon neutral. So it's a big discussion. I hope we can all stay engaged in. So with that, that's
Who did you
it.
say was the
The
organizer?
North Coast Regional Partnership.
Oh, okay.
So it's on June 7th, and I can put Karen Gaffney's email address in. That's about all I have, unless you do have something, Adriana.
No, it's the first time hearing about it. I was just gonna Google it and see if I could find something, but it's not coming up immediately. So
Okay,
yeah.
well, I'll at least put her email address in the chat.
Thank you. All right, and then last but not least is Sophia. Good morning.
Hi there. Good to see you all. So just updates and things like that. So a lot of my work is in Marin doing education and outreach, but I like to hear what you all are doing up north, and looking forward to the conference that's a little over a month away, it seems like. I can't believe it. This year has gone by so fast.
Yes.
It's been bonkers this season. And everyone I talk to seems to be the same thing. So doing a few different things with education and outreach with a couple different youth programs. I think Jason assisted with one of them. Thank you, Jason. And I think you shaved. Your camera's off right now, but I was like, whoa, that's interesting. Anyways, so plugging away with that. We just had a state conference for UCNR, which was also almost a month ago, which is ridiculous. It feels like last week, but it was really good to see a bunch of folks and connect with some of the other fire folks across the state. We've hired a lot of different people and fire advisors. I think, I can't remember what the statistic was, but at least I think over half of the conference were people that were hired within the last 5 years. But and then I'll say one of the last projects of the season is coming up this weekend, where Marin, head by the Marin Wildfire Prevention Authority and Fire Safe Marin, is putting on an event called Ember Stomp. It's a wildfire preparedness festival where there's lots of different booths with vendors like party board, Vulcan vents, etc. And then there's going to be demonstration yards of hardscaping and things like that. My master gardeners are going to be doing have a booth with some topics about either native plants to replace things and be drought tolerant, as well as other pruning and maintenance and things like that. I'm talking with the public, but it's a really great event. If you guys want to come down and see it, it's this Saturday at the Marin County Fairgrounds. But if you look up Fire Safe Marin or the event Ember Stomp, it should pop up on your Google and you can learn a little bit more about it. There's going to be also, if the wind and weather cooperates, a burning demonstration too of like Zone Zero and those type of things. So a lot of what I do is urban type of things, but as I say, every time I come to this meeting, my heart's more in the wildlands, and so I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about or talking about and what's going on up north. And Stephen, my coworker, which I was about to knock on your door and be like, hey, they're talking about the conference, shouldn't you be in here? Anyways, I'll pass it off to Stephen then, since he just got on board and he probably has some updates about the conference, because you're working on it with others, correct?
Yeah, at least in theory,
Yeah, Stephen, by the way, thank you for your communications. I have not gotten back to you, but we can talk now. So sorry.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I thought somebody was saying something. So when are they starting, Sophia, when are they starting the burn part?
I don't know if I have a schedule for that. I think there's going to be one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Or at least, I think there's gonna be two. I will see if I can look back my emails and see if there's a schedule of events for that. I
Okay.
have been given the schedule of events for talks and speaking because at the very last minute, I am going to be subbing for somebody.
Ah,
So I'm kind of frantically reviewing somebody else's slides and seeing how I'm going to be talking about it. But anyways,
okay. So on my end of things, the things that's exciting are that, you know, I said last time, things are on people's desks for signatures, and I didn't quite know why they hadn't been finished yet. And I was pretty confident everything was going to go smoothly. And then, of course, I apparently didn't knock on wood or whatever you're supposed to do after making statements like that, because everything's gone, gotten a little bit sideways on me. So I'm not quite sure what was going on, but the Shone Farm, the folks at Stephanie at Shone Farm kept trying to insert contract language into our certificates of insurance. And I'm like, this doesn't belong here. We certificates of insurance don't specify who's going to be handling audio visual things. And so I was like, you know, it sounds like you want a contract. That's not what this is about. And she responded with basically, well, I think maybe we need a contract then. And I'm not quite sure how everybody agreed to set this up with Shone Farm. I'm feeling a little in the dark on that. And that's my own fault, because I know you guys have probably covered that in these. I've been struggling to make all of them. So Adriana, can you tell me a little bit about how this was planned? I thought Shone Farm was a participant in this and that we wouldn't need a contract to do the work. But she's saying that somehow if we pay Brianna, that'll make things, I don't really get what the hell's going on anymore. And of course, this all comes down to the wire now. And I'm a little annoyed, I will confess, because we asked about this, you know, a solid month ago to try and get things moving. And everybody was like, oh no, we don't have any language. And so we moved forward with this. And then when they said we don't have any language, then they started inserting all this language. And it's like, wait, I thought you said anyway.
That's okay. I think, you know, maybe I'll talk to Stephanie about it and just kind of get the feeling from her. I don't know what we need. I don't think we need a contract, but maybe that's just, maybe you guys don't provide insurance for events that you're not actually contracted for. And maybe
No,
that's
we
part of the
do.
issue.
We
Huh.
do. We
Oh.
provide insurance. They seem to want a contract all of a sudden. I don't quite get it. We send them certificates of insurance, and all it needs is for her to sign off on it. And it basically says that the College of Marin isn't going to sue the University of California. The University of California isn't going to sue the College of Marin, and that we're going to work together to resolve problems that would arise with an insurance certificate. And the university agrees to carry agrees to pay legal costs on insurance UC agrees to pay the insurance and legal costs if something comes up related to the content of what we're talking about. And we also have automotive liability loaded in there, and it's it's like $1 million per event or per claim, and like a $5 million total or something like that. So it's all there in legal language. And we do this all the time. We did it for the last meeting up at the college, at Santa Rosa Junior College. We've done it for all of our other things. We don't have to have a contract. We've done it for events that we held up at Monan's Rill, for instance. There's no contract there. We just get there and we're just telling Monan's Rill that UC is going to cover the thing. So they don't say, no, you can't come onto our property because we don't have insurance for an educational event. So that's the same thing we're providing here. And then all of a sudden this is getting held up, even though they have events like this all the time. And I would have thought they had an application and a contract or something if they wanted one, but they told us they didn't. And
Okay.
I'm just very confused.
Yeah, thanks for the update. It does sound like something different is happening this time. So maybe, I don't know how easy it is to have a conversation with Stephanie or a meeting with her, but maybe we could just, have a few of us, you know, you and me and someone from Shone to
I
talk with
can't
her.
even get her phone number.
Oh, okay.
It's all being done via email, which I find also a little frustrating because there's very easy, in my experience, to have miscommunications happen via email, and it's much easier to do these things in person.
Yeah, and I forgot that you don't even typically work with. Are you talking about Stephanie? I'm blanking on her last name right now. Larson?
No.
Oh,
Stephanie
oh.
Larson's my boss up in Sonoma County.
In
She's
Sonoma,
easy to get
yeah.
a hold of, and she's easy to work with. No, this is Stephanie Jarrett, and she handles a lot of these. I don't know who she is, but she is a Santa Rosa Junior College employee, and she's handling their liability and contracts.
Oh, okay, I see.
And it's not within, if it was Stephanie Larson, this is all within UC, it'd be easy to take care of. But the problem is we're trying to get the administration of SRJC to mesh with the UC's administration and just come to
Mhm.
some basic agreement to keep things moving forward. And I thought we were there, but apparently we're not.
Okay, well, let's continue this conversation offline.
Okay.
But thank you for all your work trying to get this lined up. I'm just making full notes. Well, other than that, do you have just any general updates you'd like to share?
There's a bunch of things going on, and I don't quite know where to start, but we have, I'm wondering if other people have been seeing beetles that are attacking redwoods that are not sort of the normal beetles that we usually see. I had a report from a couple people that work for Sanborn Tree Service find some beetles that they were not used to seeing in dying redwoods in Sebastopol. They took pictures of them. They sent those pictures to a guy named Chris Lee at Cal Fire. Chris Lee said, "Oh, let's go. I've never seen these before. I don't think they're normal. I think they're exotic." But he said, "We'll talk about it in 2 weeks when I come down." But I'm thinking, if that's true, CDFA needs to know yesterday, because they're the people who put in quarantines and do the formal IDs on this stuff and that kind of thing. So I've contacted CDFA yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to see if they responded back to me this morning because it's been kind of a zoo. Anyway, so that's what's going on with that. And we're getting ready to treat Japanese knotweed down here again in Marin County. That's starting, that's happening. The beginning of that's happening today, and we're going to actually go out and do the surveys next week, and then we'll do the treatment sometime in July. And there's a ton of other things going on, and that's, there's too much to talk about in one time. So I think I'll just stop there.
Well, okay, well, please let us know what happens with these potentially exotic pests that are in our redwoods.
I promise you I will, if it ends up being anything to talk about.
Okay.
I kind of suspect it may just be people not used to seeing and fuzzy pictures and that thing. And when we actually get a beetle in hand, I'm hoping that it's just, oh, it's one of these. Yeah, we don't see these very often. But yeah, we've seen these before, and we know what they are. And if it's not that, you'll be hearing from me next month.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, fingers crossed. It's something totally typical. Thanks, Stephen. So I want to just introduce Alex, who just came online. This is Alex Roa. You guys probably have met him through his other ventures, but in this capacity, he's helping us with the conference. He's our conference coordinator as Topo Collective. And yeah, I thought it would be great to have him here for the second part of our meeting, where we talk about the forest conference and the some of the logistics and outreach needs for all of that. So hi, Alex, thanks for coming. So I guess I just wanted to give a quick kind of update as to where we are with the conference. I think all of you are in fairly good touch with where we're at with things, but we have the 2-day conference scheduled for Friday and Saturday, the June 23rd and 24th. Nothing has really changed about the general structure of the event. Day one is going to be all workshops at Shone Farm, indoors, outdoors. We're going to have a catered lunch and some light breakfast. It'll be an all-day event. One slightly new thing is that we've added on a social hour afterwards. So for those who want to stay kind of in an unstructured way, you can stay after the conference on Friday for some mingling and networking with food. That'll be like 5 to 7-ish. And then on day 2, we come back to Shone Farm. We depart for separate field trips across the county, including one at Coast Ridge, which is what Judy was talking about earlier. We're also going to be visiting Pepperwood Preserve with Devin and Saddle Mountain with Kim and Monica Del Martini, as well as Green Valley Farm and Mill with Temra, and potentially also the Chase family property in Bodega. So those are our 4. The Green Valley and Rancho Bodega sites would be combined, and so together that makes 4 sites. So we've got our program more or less set up, and now we are ready to do outreach. We've opened registration. We have a lot of outreach kind of material to share with you guys and ask you to start spreading the word to your networks. I guess I wanted to show a couple of those things. Let me pull it up. So let's see, screen 2. Here we go. Here's our website, which is live. You guys can go to this anytime. It's just sonomaforest.org/conference. And this has all the kind of information about the day. We have, the overview of day 1 with our general schedule. We have a quick description about each of the sessions that folks will be cycling through. I guess a quick update about that. We have decided that we will split the attendance so we're expecting about 120 people. We're going to split 120 people into 4 separate groups of size 30, and we'll be cycling those 4 groups through these same 4 sessions all day long. And then concurrently, there's going to be a resource fair that is basically just partner tabling that folks can go and, when they need a break from the sessions, they can go and talk to folks at the resource fair. When we have lunch, they can go there after, before the sessions. And our sessions are Intro to Forest and Fire Ecology. This session will be hosted or led by Brianna Boaz from the Junior College and Marshall Turbeville. Forestry project planning, permitting, and funding. This is a session, actually, Jason Wells will be talking about all or any of these topics, along with a couple other speakers that we're still reaching out to, but we're looking at inviting Mike Wink from CAL FIRE, as well as, I think, Joe, I still need to reach out to Jeff. I think you mentioned Jeff might be available from the NRCS. Would love to have him there to talk about some of NRCS's funding programs. We're thinking about Robert Aguero from Permit Sonoma, and from Fish and Wildlife, Julie Coombs reached out and said that she'd be happy to talk about permitting. So we don't want a giant panel, but we hope a couple of those folks can come. For forestry tools and demonstration, this is like actually going out, looking at tools being used on the ground. So the junior college has a great tool cache, and we're going to have some junior college employees. They've got a burn boss named Annie Madden who will be taking on this section, and some of her the students that she works with will be demonstrating those different tools, like hand tools up to even some larger equipment like a wood chipper. And that, of course, is an outdoor session. And the other outdoor session is Tactical Solutions to Common Forestry Issues. And this is going to be led by Jason Mills, as well as potentially Fred. He's volunteered. We'd also really love to, and we haven't reached out to him yet, but would love to invite Joe Plogger to present at this as well. And so basically what this session is all about is, I think we're going to start off with just like how to read your landscape, like how to get familiar with what your landscape looks like on the regular, and then identify changes over time and problems. And once you've identified a problem, such as an invasive species, how do you take action? What resources do you have? Who can you call? What can you do? And how to feel empowered and informed and take action.
So Adriana, I did really quickly wanted to mention that I did invite Mike Jones to potentially work
Oh,
on this, and
perfect.
I will be seeing. I'll go check. I'll have an answer for you later to in this meeting as to whether he responded or not.
Great, thank you. Yes, Mike Jones is the other potential, and thank you, Steve, for your time developing this with Jason. So that's kind of our day one. Those are the sessions. And then we're also going to have in the plenary, which isn't written up here, but in the plenary, we'll be hearing from, it'll be kind of like a welcome to the junior college. Here's the intention setting for the conference. And then we're going to hear from a couple of landowners, including Judy, on their successful projects and how they've collaborated with agency partners and with their neighbors to get forestry projects done. So in the morning, we're going to have a very inspirational kind of plenary session hearing from those speakers. And then at the end of the day, we will return to those same speakers and have sort of a kind of culminating conversation of like, what did we learn? Where do we want to take this into the future? So I think that'll be a nice way to bookend the event and get us ready for day two. So here's the program for day two. Again, like I said, we're meeting at Shone Farm and then going to these field sites. These are concurrent, so you have to choose one. You can't go on multiple ones, but they're all going to be great. You can read more about them here. And then, yeah, registration is open. So registration is on Eventbrite, and I can just open that just to show you all real quick. So the tickets are $40 a person, unless you would like a senior or student discount, or you would like to donate more. You can donate to cover the cost of a student's lunch, or you can donate more to support the conference. For those of you who have been on the conference committee, we're going to comp your ticket and we'll give you a special code for that. Thank you for your help on planning this. So to get the word out, we have a bevy of different resources. So we would love, here's for example, is some of our media assets that you can use on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. We've got plenty of images and also some just short messages that you can plug into your organization's social media. We're also working on a just a message that you can send out to like your, in an email or on a newsletter. So I think we'll have those out to you later today. And we would love for everyone to start plugging this to your networks. Let me just stop sharing for a sec. Putting this message out next week, because our goal is we want this workshop, or sorry, this conference is really meant for forest landowners. So we would love the first wave of outreach to be directly to landowners that you know of, your neighbors, your clients, your people you work with. We want to make this easy for you just to send it out to them and get them in first. And then after that first kind of wave of landowner outreach, we'll sort of open it up to a broader audience that includes more like agency folks. So please, if you can, once I send this whole like outreach kit to you later today, I hope that you spend, next week sending it out as you can. And I had a couple, and I know on our committee, we had folks sign up for sort of different like organizations or fire safe councils or landowner groups that you know of, that you were, each of you said like, I volunteer to reach out to this person, or I volunteered to reach out to that. So I'll kind of put up together a little reminder of who all signed up for what. And And then hopefully it'll be easy to get out there. And okay, thanks, Joe. I'm glad to hear that Jeff is available, and I'll make a formal invitation to him soon. So are there any questions about just the outreach part of this or the program before I go into the next part? Oh, Dee, yeah, go ahead. And you're muted. You're still on mute, Dee.
Do we have a specific outline of the beginning of the day on Friday? The speakers and such, is there it online?
Not online. It's kind of more I didn't think to put it online, but do you think it would be appropriate to put it online?
Well, I'm curious.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to share that outline with you. And yeah, I mean, like, I guess we could put the plenary up as one of the sessions. I kind of was thinking about it as more of like, yeah, I don't know why I didn't think that I would do that, but if people would like to see that, I think that makes sense.
Dee, are you specifically thinking about names of speakers? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
And time frames? It's important for people to know that as we get closer, and people want to know, what specifics we have going.
Yeah, I guess thanks for asking that question, Alex, because I haven't really named names yet, just as we're still confirming speakers. We were, it's May 18th, so we really needed to open registration whether we were ready with like exactly the exact speaker or not.
Sure.
So I may not have that information, but I think you're right. Timing and just kind of like what to expect would be nice to put up on there.
And as we have people who confirm, we can always, use that as information to share with our broader sort of marketing outreach to say, hey, so-and-so just committed and we can't wait to have them. That would be good information to share as it's available.
Yeah, totally. Any other questions? All right, seeing none. And, if you have them come as they come up, feel free to ask. But the other thing I wanted to share with you guys was let's see, there's a lot to get done, and we could use some extra hands. So we need some volunteers. And I thought I would just share with you guys our volunteer sign up sheet. It is linked in the agenda, and I'll also put the link in the chat. Let me grab that. I think we're going to have, we will have help, but if anyone feels generous and wants to, really wants to plug in this way, we would love it. So let me share my screen and show you what are some of the positions that we're needing help for. So, and Alex, you can correct me if any of this is wrong because we haven't talked too much about it, but I was thinking, on Thursday, we're going to want to kind of set everything up, like chairs and whatnot, get all that kind of in place. That's probably gonna be Thursday evening because I think the school is open on Thursday day. So time's still TBD, but we would love some help from just people moving things around on Thursday. And then Friday morning early, we need a setup crew to do chairs and help with breakfast. Set up the registration table, help our partners set up their tables, things like that. And then once the event actually starts, we need a couple of attendants at the registration table, helping people just sign in. Everyone should be registered online, but we will need people to sign in and get their name tag and their program and things like that. That's a 2-hour shift. And then throughout the day, we would love that same table to be used as the help desk. So anyone who has questions, there's some friendly face who can help them get what they need. We'll kind of keep this in just 2-hour shifts. We're not going to make any one person sit there all day unless you want to. And then this is kind of fun. We have this Ask Me About. So, and I call it an expert, but no one needs to be an expert. It's just kind of like a fun way for you to add something to your name tag that says, ask me about this. So I have in this second tab over here, if you just go to the next tab over, you can see this list. I made some examples. So like,
Oh.
it'll be like your name, I'm Friendly Forester. My title is Forester. I work for Forestry Inc. And you can ask me about redwood forests, you know, something like that. So for me, I was like, ask me about financial assistance, because we do a lot of those financial programs at the RCD, and, you know, something short and sweet that just kind of like, it's a conversation starter. And it also just helps all the landowners know that there's like a bunch of people in the audience who are available and interested in talking to them. So if you have something, you know, that you would like to be an expert, quote unquote, on, just drop it here, and Alex and I will make a name tag for you. That's why it says sign up on the next tab over there. Next is Classroom Gopher. So we just kind of want some person who's not a speaker, who's not an MC, to be at each of the sessions, who's available to go and grab something or get help, or, you know, whatever. So we would need these folks to be stationed. And I was thinking it would be nice if we could just have one person be stationed for not the entire day, but maybe like half the day, like the morning session or the afternoon session. They can just stay in that one classroom and be at the ready. They may also be the timekeeper. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if we want to make them have 2 roles, but we also need a timekeeper for our sessions. Someone who can hold up signs. It's like 5 minutes left, you know. And then a couple of these things are going to be covered by the junior college. Like, we're hoping to have sort of like golf carts or something that'll help people with mobility limitations move from station to station, or between the indoor station and the outdoor ones, because it's a bit of a long walk. So we're hoping to get, I think the junior college will help us with that. And similarly, I think we're going to have ask some junior college students to help us with shepherding the different groups around. So again, like, we're going to break the conference attendees up into 4 groups, and those groups will sort of stay together on a track. So I would love for there to be a shepherd who moves, you know, okay, your first session was this, now we're going outdoors to this next session, and follow me. Potentially this person could also be the classroom gopher if they're staying there with that group the whole time, but I don't know, Alex and I need to talk more about that. And then we need lunch setup, cleanup crew around midday, happy hour setup and cleanup crew, and then the whole like takedown crew, which I'm not totally sure how much takedown there will be because we're going to be back in here on Saturday, but probably, you know, like sweeping and just making things look nice at a minimum. So then, yeah, Saturday we set up, same kind of thing, might be doing, you know, preparing lunch bags for the field trips. We need some folks for that. And then registration table, just the same. And then drivers. So if you're interested in driving to one of these sites, just let us know. We may have some of those drivers through you know, through the junior college, or through whoever's van it is, they might be able to drive it. But anyway, if you're interested, please sign up and we'll let you know if we need you or not. And then lastly, it's just like Saturday takedown, and then we might have to do some cleanup on Sunday, but I'm not really sure yet. So if any of these sound appealing, we would love your help. And it's also just kind of a nice way for you all to be plugged in to the conference and just help it go smoothly. Any questions?
Yes, I do. Yes. Wait. Okay. Yeah. Am I on?
Yeah. Go ahead, Dee.
And are we having a survey that will be available at the conference? And when I was working the symposium a few years ago, we did hand them out, got them back from people. You know, someone was standing around with the survey, and we got a lot of great responses. And I'd like to do that. I'm not sure I'd be the right person to come up with survey questions, but I believe I sent you, Adriana, a list, you know, that we used in prior conferences. So I'd like to be involved in that.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Dee. Definitely. Yeah, we would love for there to be a survey at the end of the day that people would take, and we do need someone to help hand that out. So I'll add that. I don't know if we want to do that Friday or Saturday. I think I'll just add it on to Friday for now.
I'd like to do it Friday because I don't think I can even be involved on Saturday.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah, Dee, it'd be great if you have something from the symposium or anything else that you have come across that has questions that you think are relevant. That would be great to pass along, and then we can build that out ahead of time. I think what we had talked about early on was sort of a both and, one being a hard copy that we hand out in person. We can also do a QR code so people can take it digitally if they prefer. And then, of course, we can do a follow-up email in the days after, just to get a little broader. But yeah, that'd be great if you can help out with that.
I definitely want to. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Okay. Let me see. I think those were some of the big items I wanted to talk about. Is there anything else that people are curious about with the conference that they'd like to hear more about? It looks like we have some time. I can dive into any portion that you guys are interested in.
I just want to keep going with the survey really quickly. I was thinking we've done this before. I've got some old surveys I could bring up and volunteer. I think they're going to be largely what Dee has, so I don't know that they'll offer anything new.
Oh, yeah, please do send them. Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm happy to work on it. I just want to urge everybody, surveys are great. What people are really looking for, though, at least in the forest group side of things, is the report out, say, what did we learn from our surveys? And if we have just these boxes that say, what did you think of the survey? Or what did you, what are the thoughts you had about how to do this? It gets really hard to categorize and be able to say anything conclusive at the end. So unfortunately, as much as like the little multiple choice buttons are not as satisfactory in terms of catching things, that's going to be one of the best ways to report out and say, like 30% of our participants rated it this way, 30, and we could even do stuff with beginning and end questions. And I don't know how involved we want to get, and I'm totally open to doing this multiple different ways. But one would be to have a survey at the very beginning of the thing that says, what is zone 0 around your house? And then you give them multiple choice questions. And then you have that same question at the end. And then you see how many people got it right in the beginning and how many people got it right at the end. And you can sort of gauge, people on average learned X amount by this. And you only have a couple questions like that, because otherwise everybody gets bored with taking it. So you have 2 or 3 questions at the beginning, 2 or 3 questions at the end. And in general, you can say, our audience learned X amount, but you have to be careful about how those questions are done. Anyway, I'm happy to work with folks on trying to craft that, if that's something you guys are interested and want me involved. If you don't, I got plenty of other things to keep me busy.
Great. You'd be great.
Yeah, no, thank you, Stephen. We love that. I love how you give us the option to work with you or not.
Hey man, just go where you're wanted, because if you're not wanted, don't.
I couldn't agree more. The qualitative answers that we can get might be some of the most insightful pieces. We certainly should do, multiple choice, scale, ranking, all that stuff. That's all great, but at least a couple of qualitative answers are going to be, I think, really helpful. And yeah, it does take more time. It's not something we can just crunch, but that's the point, right? We're trying to get good information, and that's the way to do it. So,
Alex, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the questionnaires. There should be a real abbreviated one, maybe, for people who don't want to think too much. And then there's one where we're mining for what they really think. What do they want to know? What didn't we do right? Or
have a comment section at the end. If somebody's got comments for you, they're usually
right happy
to offer a lot of on that end. Whether you want to read it or not is another question, but
yeah. what was your best day if you went to all of it? Or, I think a lot of people won't be able to make every day, but the admission price sort of is an incentive to see the whole thing. And so you'll get serious attendees. So I guess if I'm going to send something out, like say to Trinity, to friends up there, I'll wait till have the final next week when everything's
Yeah,
be able to
yeah.
answer a few more questions. I've got to read it first. So the
That'd be
whole
great.
thing, yeah. And Alex, you're doing this? You're contracting to publish
I'm,
this?
yeah, supporting, yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't know exactly what you mean by doing this, but I'm sort of supporting the overall effort here, yeah.
Well, you're not doing the whole thing, Alex?
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
You
just
guys-
like the whole thing with contracts, like insurance and all that stuff. We've used Shone Farm for so many things that are very risky. Pruning shears in the hands of homeowners, that sort of stuff. And chainsaws. But maybe there's a new policy at the I mean, I'm surprised that we had to do that. You could have an MOU that lasts forever, Well, no, until a new administration. But anyway.
Right, Ron, I'm not sure I know either, and it doesn't really matter. Maybe Stephanie's new and she just doesn't know how the systems work yet. That's okay. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
happy to work with folks. I'm a little stressed now that we're getting down to the wire and we still don't have anything unsigned. You know what I mean? So, but
Yeah.
whatever. I gotta go. I apologize, but I got a 11:30. So
No worries.
thanks
Thank you.
for putting up with me, and I'll see you guys next time.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great. So, and then just a clarifying question for me about the survey. Do you guys want it to be a paper survey that we hand them at the beginning of the event and then a paper survey we hand them at the end of the event? Or are you imagining something different?
I think we're going to have to decide because there were some ideas I hadn't thought of, today. But I am definitely thinking of a paper that we can hand to people and, then monitor getting it back. It was really made a big difference in how we got hundreds, a huge percentage of people returning them. And I like Alex's idea of then sending it home with them or sending it again, because you want as much information from the people that you wanted to serve as possible.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, yeah, so the way I did the last survey was online and it was just, take it at your leisure. It's a Google survey. And some amount of people will do that. But yeah, maybe having it there on the day of, and it's like a short little half sheet thing that we just give them at the welcome table and just say, hey, sign this up here right now, or take it to your chair, sign it up, fill it out, and then we'll collect it later.
But
and we do the same
also,
thing at the
I
end.
really want to give them to people at their table too, and say, you're important. We need to hear from you. I mean, I really think it's one of the most important things of the conference is to getting the feedback. And even if it's just verbal, and I'll write it down or something, I just think that getting that feedback is going to be key for what we want to do follow up on in years to come.
Hey, what did you think of Stephen's sort of before and after concept? That seems a little different than what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm open, to it working, but I don't know. That's almost like a test,
Well,
and it might work. I just need some time to think about it. And of course, I'm only one voice.
yeah, it does seem different than sort of a survey about the conference, but I think it might be valuable in terms of demonstrating value, just to have 3 questions that we ask at the beginning and the end of the day, and ideally we see some delta there, we see some improvement. So anyway, we can table that for now, but I think splitting those apart might be helpful.
Okay.
Okay. Great. Let's see. Anything else that people want to talk about? I feel like we went through this pretty fast, actually. So, yeah.
I had to step out. I was just gonna say, I stepped out when you were going over the volunteer sheet. I might be able to help on Thursday. I'm not quite sure yet. But also I was gonna say, since it's at Shone Farm, and that's where students are, I don't know if there's certain instructors or what have you, if they would want to like offer extra credit or comp for the conference and things like that, especially in natural resource management students. They're pretty raring to go to kind of help out and things like that. I don't know if that came up in discussion. I just sat back down
Yeah.
at my desk. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, we didn't talk about it too much, but I think you're right. Like I anticipate that we will have quite a few students who are excited to volunteer, and maybe they'll even get credit for it or something. But yeah, I mean, as far as like, I just wanted to offer it to all of you in case you want to find ways to help make this day go smoothly, because we could use as many hands as we can get. So if you're looking for a way to plug in, this is an easy one. And anything that we don't have, we'll fill the gap with helpful volunteers. I think even Jason said that some of his crew from WRA would be interested in helping. So people have been offering extra hands, which is amazing. And I think we'll be good. Yeah, it's never too early to start asking.
For sure. Okay.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, I just looked at my files and we had 178 people return a survey, and it was really time consuming. I had to find a volunteer that spent a couple of days on compiling the answers, and we put it in a chart, in a graph. And so let's just see what we can do. It's just one idea. But I'm sending it to Steve, Alex, and Adriana. Does anybody else want to see it and be involved? Well, silence is golden. Thanks.
Steve. That's a good idea too, that we could have someone volunteer to be like the survey processor. Someone can actually go through and digitize the written responses and
yeah, then you can make it more comprehensive, and you wouldn't have to. Anyway, she may be willing to do it again. She's so crazy.
Well, aren't there really easy to use phone applications that would probably be a quarter of the work, and people are pretty used to doing those now? Because like use a survey, an ArcGIS, or I don't know what the survey apps that are out there are, but I'm sure there are a bunch of them. And I would say consider that, because that way you don't have to read them and retype them. And most people are going to be happy to do them on their phone, probably happier than doing them on paper. So
yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Maybe Alex can look at, survey like that.
Yeah, we've done that in the past. We basically provide, a half sheet or a full sheet. We include the questions on the sheet, and then we include a QR code or a website that people can go to on their phone to quickly and easily get to a digital survey. And I couldn't agree more. Most people would rather do it on their phone. It's sort of sad to print all that paper and then have people not use it, but that seems to be the best way to kind of give people the option and still get a paper copy if that's how they prefer to do it. We could think of some other ways of offering paper without printing as much, but definitely the digital version is a lot better on the back end, a lot faster. And like I said, I think most people probably prefer to do it that way. And we can also, one cool thing that we have done, which is you can't do with the paper version, is we can basically let people record a little video or a audio clip. So if they don't want to write a paragraph about their experience, they can speak into their phone or give us a little video clip, and then we can get a transcription, and we can use that information how we would like.
Just remember the old people like me and the landowners that you may not even want to put it in your phone or work your phone. So anyway,
we want to have both options for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll keep working on it. Thanks.
Awesome. Interesting. Yeah, I was thinking like, will people even want to do things digitally? But yeah, we're stepping into the future. So great. I guess yeah, what else do we want to talk about?
Lunch.
Oh, lunch. That's a great one. Yeah. Alex, do you want to tell us about the caterer that we found?
Sure. I thought Dee was saying lunch like to eat right now, but we can talk about lunch at the conference too. That's
So
fine.
yeah, we
Uh,
can talk about, you know.
Yeah. So let me pull up my notes here. So I don't know if anybody's familiar with Agave Catering, or I think they're called Agave. What is their full name? Anyway, they're in Healdsburg. They're sort of like a dine-in Mexican restaurant. And I gotta find my notes. If anybody attended the task force, the wildfire task force meeting in Santa Rosa last year, they were the ones that provided the food and beverage for that event, which we got in our survey. Actually, at that event, we got really good reviews about the food. So
Yeah, that was good.
yeah. Sorry, I'm coming up. There it is. So so what we have negotiated with them is basically a taco bar, but I'd say it's like a taco bar plus. So we'll do choice of steak, chicken, or veggies for sort of that main, and then all your traditional sort of taco toppings and cilantro, onion, lime, choice of tortillas, and then rice and beans, and then chips and salsa dips for all. And then a couple of agua frescas. So we'll have kind of a nice beverage choice. And then in addition, of course, we'll do water and sort of traditional sodas, that kind of thing. And then they are also going to help us out with the, I don't know if we really want to call it happy hour. What are we calling that evening session? Do we want to call it a happy hour?
Social hour. I think.
Social hour. That's probably
Yeah,
a better
let's
term.
think of something you know, snappy, but not the happy hour.
Not happy hour. Yeah. So they're gonna do appetizers, a couple different things. We're kind of actually still working through what exactly, but they'll do some molitos, which I've never heard of them, but I guess it sort of sounds to me like a cornbread version of an empanada. That kind of a thing. They look really tasty. And then skewers, which basically just, you know, chicken and steak skewers with like a little shish kebab kind of thing. Mini flautas, which is like, I think basically like a I don't know, like a taquito, but it's sort of more potato and avocado kind of stuff. And then they will do margaritas as well. So we'll do probably 2 flavors of margaritas. And then it sounded like we were going to try and do some donated wine. Does that sound right, Adriana?
That sounds
Yes.
right. This is Fred talking, and the Wild Hog wine has been offered to us through Daniel Schoenfeld. I don't know if
Fabulous. Wow.
Well, yeah, he said he's always willing to support events like this. And Judy, are you there? Yes.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, Daniel has offered wine. Let me confirm with him what we need, how many cases, and I'll get back to you on that.
And do you have a white wine folk out there like the Hirsch or something?
Not personally, we're not working with them, so I can't really help you out there, but I know, you know, Daniel will make some donations, which
Okay.
he's.
Okay, so we'll be looking for other donations too. Great. Thank you.
I can ask him too, if he knows of someone who would be willing to
Please
make
do.
donation. About how many cases are you looking for?
Well, we're gonna have about 100 people, I think, for the social hour.
That's what we're planning, 100 people. And then, yeah, that's what we're targeting.
So,
And maybe we'll just say 1 glass per person, just kind of encourage people not to drink more than that.
Yeah, because we'll have where the current quote for the margaritas is for half those people. So for 50 people, so we will have margarita option. Certainly some people maybe would want both, but we definitely don't need more than a glass of wine on average, I would think.
so one case should be fine.
One case of red, 1 case of white.
one case would be 1/8 of a bottle per person. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll ask him also if he knows of someone who might want to donate a case of white wine. He might be able to talk to one of his neighbors. I don't
And
know.
yeah, and we might want to ask SRJC because they've got that there too.
They've got the vineyard right there and their wine.
Oh, their wine is very nice.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
amazing. Do you know if Wild Hog wants any kind of like recognition, or like do they want like a poster about like their land management or a connection with the conference material or anything like that?
Yeah, I think that would be great. I think he'd like that.
Okay,
I'll get some information from him and send it over to you.
great.
Daniel also might like to attend the conference.
Oh,
True.
yeah, and he can come for free, of course.
We'll comp him a ticket.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
got a lot of information. He's good.
Yeah, he could he could stand there and talk about his wine too.
Oh,
He
yeah,
likes- okay, I'll give him a call.
thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, Fred.
That's great. That's great. And then for breakfast, I think we were just doing, I mean, I love your suggestions about breakfast. We were gonna make it very simple, like bagels, cream cheese, cutie oranges, like little things like that. Is there anything that people like suggest that's very easy and a crowd pleaser?
Keep it simple, the kiss method.
Yeah, so that sounds okay if we just offer coffee, tea, like, yeah, bagels, like little travel, food bar, kind of like granola bar type things, grapes, muffins. That's
Yep.
all good. Okay.
Boiled eggs are a good one. Hard-boiled eggs.
Hard boiled eggs, really?
Yeah,
Aren't
Yeah.
they kind of smelly?
not if they're fresh.
All right, we'll see if we
They're
can do
packed
that.
with protein and they come with a package.
That's true. Although I think I want to be able to not do any prep at all. Like we don't want the kitchen having to prep anything. I just want to be able to buy things and then lay it out, Costco style. So that might not fit in, but I love the suggestion. Okay. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else juicy that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Well, one thing we can circle back to is outreach. And last time we had talked as a committee, we were talking about like, oh, I have a connection to this group, or I have a connection to that group, and I can call them, talk to them, make a presentation about the conference. So maybe like, let's just circle back to that for a second. And refresh our memories. I don't remember where my notes are about that. But like, for example, Fred, I remember you saying that you could talk to your neighbors in the Healdsburg area. Oh, no. Oh, you liked Occidental instead. Okay, great. Yeah. Oh, and you're on mute. We can't hear you, Fred. You have to unmute. Sorry.
You have to unmute for this thing? Okay. There's the COPE members in Healdsburg, of which I'm a part, and there's a good information system up there for the people in the burned area and on Mill Creek. And we also have a good information system over here. But Carol Leone she's the master puppeteer behind all of this. So she can reach down into those groups as well. Isn't that right, Carol Leone?
What do you need, Fred?
Contact with all the local COPEs and other fire-wise organizations, community organizations through the county.
That would, your best bet actually on that would be to go through Fire Safe Sonoma.
Okay.
And because they're the ones who are sort of doing the best that they can to keep all those. That's what I would do. I would go to Fire Safe Sonoma. So if you want
To whom would you go in Fire Safe Sonoma?
personally, I'd go to Roberta. So you just want to get the word out about the conference. Is that it?
Yeah.
And Roberta has agreed to put like a blurb in their newsletter. And I think she would send me a list of all of the fire safe organizations that are rural. So we can start kind of reaching out to those folks, so via email at least. But I was just thinking, like, if you really have if you have a group that you can go to one of their meetings and talk to them about it, like I'm gonna go to the Safer West County Board meeting or steering committee meeting in June, and just, like talk about it and say, hey, this is why you should come. So if you guys have the ear of any group like that, like Judy, or I'm sorry, Jill, you can, you have the ear of Gualala. If you can, do some kind of outreach to them. Is she still on the call? I'm not sure. I think she had to leave.
Do we have canned materials we can send out?
Yes, and I'm going to send those out to all of you today. Alex helped a ton with pulling that together.
That would be great, because I can forward those on to Roberta. I'm meeting with a neighborhood group next week that I could talk to it about. It'd be easiest if I have some stuff that I can either
Yes, for
show them
sure.
or send them. So yeah, send me that, and I'm happy to forward anything on to Roberta, or though, sounds like you're in contact with her anyway. Adriana, is that correct?
Yeah, but you know what? The more we send, like the more people Roberta has asking her to do it, I'm sure it's gonna make it even more of a,
Okay.
yeah.
Jill has she usually sends out the minutes of the Gualala Watershed Council. And she could probably just include that in the minutes, because she hasn't, well, she'll have minutes soon.
Mhm.
So she probably could just automatically just push the button for everybody. And at our meeting next week at the RCD, I'll bring it up so that all our staff, but I'm sure Jason will too. But yeah, and Jason will get a copy of the packet, or
Yeah.
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 okay.
Nice. Okay, great. Sounds good.
Well, we will also, through the Coast Ridge Forest Council, put something in our newsletter and send an announcement out about it, which we're already planning.
Awesome. Great, thank you. I'm sure all of you will do a great job of that. I just wanted to make a point of conversation, because I feel like when we talk about it, then it's like it sparks ideas, and then we come up with more connections. So I just wanted to give us a couple of minutes to talk about that.
Yeah, Adriana, are we able to track, as people are registering, where they're coming from, so that we can see where there may be a light, attendance, and we might want to put some attention to that area or type of land? I don't know. I just was thinking about it.
Yeah, great question. Alex?
I mean, we certainly can. We collect address. So I guess I was thinking like, we could look at zip codes.
Right.
That might be the best way, although some of the zip codes in the county are pretty big, so maybe not.
Maybe by road.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. We could just look at streets. We're probably all familiar enough with at least major streets to kind of get a sense.
Yeah, and then you could see where there are some empty spaces that we could then concentrate on. It would be great to cover the geography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Maybe just looking at addresses, and I can come up with a couple of sort of reports that we could look at to see, by street or by zip code, maybe. My mind is already, as a geographer, my mind is already thinking like, oh, how could I take this and put it on a map? And I don't know if it's worth doing that for this short of a, we just only have not that many weeks, but let me think a little bit more about that, Dee. But I hear the thought of making sure that we've got good distribution and wanting to know kind of real time where people are registering from. And that seems like a good thing to try and figure out.
I think actually we could, I'm just learning about ArcGIS, but I think you can upload the Excel sheet into and make a shape file out of it. And so it'll have I think it'll bring the points up that way. We can try that and see if it works.
That might be fun to have at the conference if it seems visually, interesting to anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we could find a way to make it, to not show exactly where people are coming from, but sort of like kind of like a bubble or something that shows like we've got 10 people coming from this area and 20 from that one. I think that would be pretty cool. And actually that brings me to another question. So we have the ability to send out postcards, and we have a beautiful postcard that Alex's team has designed. We just don't know who to send it to quite yet. We have the budget to send out about 1,000, maybe more like 900 of these postcards. And I am, thinking like, okay, 1,000 parcels actually doesn't go that far in Sonoma County. But looking at the maps I've been looking at, mostly West County, like north of the river, south of the river, all of the parcels there that have like a certain density of forest on it. And I was looking at parcels over 10 acres in size, just to see how many that is. And I think it was like 2,000 right there. So I'm trying, I'd love your guys' advice on how to target outreach. If you think we should do it sort of like by parcel size, or by like, maybe like it's a smattering, like we want to send 25% of the postcards to this area and 25% to that area. And then we just kind of take a random, like we just randomly smatter the map with postcards instead of sending to entire geographies. We could, kind of do like a little, like, okay, 250 go over here randomly, and then 250 randomly go over there. I don't know, like what do you
Well,
guys
I
think
don't
would be
like the word
effective?
random very much, but I also think that we can use the postcards, like if we were to have something available for this Saturday's event that we just heard about. I think that's probably a little, you probably can't get them printed out, but I mean, those types of events to be put on a table, that seems like that could be one way for outreach. Maybe it's random, but if they're particular conferences about, subjects that relate, it's not so random.
I like that idea. I don't know why I didn't think about, just like putting up flyers or having flyers at events. That makes total sense. Who's going to that Saturday event again? Are we talking about Emberstall?
Somebody just did their announcement. I was just coming on to the
Yeah, it
meeting,
was
so I didn't
Sophia.
remember who. Yeah, Sophia.
She had to leave, but maybe, I could send her, I could ask her if she could print out at least one flyer and have it on her table. And I think it has a QR code on it. People could
Okay.
just scan it.
Okay.
That's a great idea. Yeah, what I meant by random was more like, so, say you have 3,000 parcels that you're interested in outreaching to, but you can only send to 900 of them. It's like,
Right.
well, what do you do? Like, do you?
Oh, you'll do a good job. I
know.
was just kind of, of course, you'll figure it out well.
Oh, no, well, I want your advice, like
Okay,
that's,
okay.
that's, I guess my question is like, how would you do it? But
The geographic areas that we designated for that hazardous fuels grant, they kind of circled up, okay, where are the areas that have burned and where are the areas that we know are going to burn next week? And that might give you the sort of geographic footprint. I get more inquiries generally for forest stuff from the West County. So you might want to do a few more over there.
William, could you say again what the,
Yeah, I'll email you the map.
okay, thank you. So it's a map of the high hazard severity areas. Anyway, thanks for sending that over. All right. Well, yeah, that's just food for thought. Thank you for your input there. And
I guess at the RCD offices, too, their reception tables, if there are still such an idea of a reception table, and any of the other events that we're all having, between now and then. Anyway, I'll stop.
Yeah, no, it's good because because I guess the strategy is like, we all kind of know a certain number of people, right? And we can get to those people through meetings or through our newsletters or our social media accounts. But then there's people that none of us know who are out there that we want to reach. So the only way I was thinking we could get to them is through like mailing them a postcard, like let's just mail it to their homes. And then we know that some people have at least gotten it. So that's kind of my hanging question is like, how do we get to the people that none of us know?
The fire
Um,
departments are all having their pancake breakfasts and such, over the next few
Oh.
weeks.
Yeah, that is another excellent idea.
Yeah, I think going through the fire departments, it's a whole bunch of people that we don't normally see.
Yeah,
Especially the old VFDs, and sending it to those folks, and also our UCCE outreach, the UCANR outreach. I was just up at Hopland, and there were people from all over, yeah, they're very excited about this kind of stuff too. We've got a couple of those folks on our group.
And Flock, I keep forgetting about that, but thanks Fred for cross-posting with Flock when I send you the stuff, right? Nice, yeah, I should definitely, I've been having a note on my notepad and in my mind to reach out to Kim Ingram from the UCANR Forest Stewardship workshop series and just ask her for some advice and help with outreaching.
And ask Jason to outreach to CLFA, the California Licensed Foresters Association.
Ooh, nice.
Which does cooperative workshops with the Board of Forestry. That's they are who they are, but they do a good job.
do we want to remind people that we like what we're talking about in distribution, that we're really looking for landowners, not just staff people, that I'm just saying,
Yeah, no, I'm trying to really gear our messaging in that direction too. So it's like, hey, please send this to landowners. Please
Yeah.
encourage landowners to attend. Because I know, like you guys, that we will all get really good attendance from, from people like us, from
Right.
from that care, but are not exactly our target audience. And so we want to try and get ahead of that and get it out to landowners first.
There's also a demographic involved. So as Forest Landowners California said, the average forest landowner is a man in his 60s with 600 acres. Now that's the average for the state, but I don't know. How do we reach out to people? Nearest Buick dealer? I don't know.
All right, guys. Well, this is really helpful. Thank you. I see we're coming up at the end of the meeting. So please just know that you will get that outreach kit from me and Alex later today. And I'll have a little reminder of whoever, you said you were going to send it out to. And we'll just keep going. Yeah. Wanted to let you know in July, we have, we're going to have a special speaker at our July meeting of this meeting. It's going to be Ryan Klausch from State Parks, and he's going to give us an update on what State Parks is doing in Sonoma County. So just wanted to let you know that's on the horizon. Excited to hear about it.
Thank you very much, Adriana and Alex and everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well,
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. All right. Alex, I know you and I are going to be continuing talking, but do you mind if we take a little break and
no
then
problem.
jump on?
Let's see you in the Google Meet.
Yeah, sounds
Okay.
good.
See you in a
All
few.
right. See you then. Bye.